Aha, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back on the air with the Walking Dead Support Group, episode 6 for us. My name is Alex Mann. To my right, I have Keith O'Brien. To my left, I have Jason McCarthy. For those of you who may be new, we are the Walking Dead Support Group. We are on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We're on the web. We are all over the place. Membership is driving huge this week, so we've got some thank yous to do. But the way we always start our show is the kill count. And our official kill count master, Keith.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight's kill count was 7.
It was a great 7.
Not a lot of kills, but 7 good kills, great kills.
Quality over
quantity, and more importantly, all 7 by one person.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's Phil
That might be a first.
or Brian, but that might be a first. Let the viewers at home do the research on the internet and find out if that's the truth. If maybe, oh God, we had a show without Daryl. And can we find out if maybe Daryl had a whole show where he just killed people? But they all went to the governor tonight.
Great. Thank you, Keith.
Back to you, Alex.
So next what we do is we like to give a little shout out to some of our more recent followers, but tonight I think we picked up almost 20. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this to Jason to kind of go through some of these names and say hi and give them their shout out.
And he's going to apologize in advance for messing some of these up. Alexa Powell, Tammy Michael, Jenny Ola, Jr., that was a tough one. Alicia, Sharonan 2011, ZA Monthly, Brandon Russell, Samantha Lundhilmer, KNR, and Lizard Lollies,
Excellent.
to name a few.
So tonight we had, as I just remembered to put my phone on silent, I apologize. We also have some new people on Facebook. Jay, give them a quick shout out.
Sabrina Giblock Nardini, Kimberly McQuaid Sansusi, Carolina Martinez Bahara, and Sandra Cabana. And I apologize.
Anything you want to
if I
say to
messed that
Sandra?
up.
Hello, Sandra. Sandra's my Brenda and mine's aunt. It's Brenda's aunt.
Very
my
good.
Aunt-in-law. That's not even a real thing, but aunt. So a quick shout out to Sandra. Apparently she asked to come in, and she's in.
Very good.
Watching the show, I'm sure, on a repeat on Facebook or YouTube or the website, whatever that is, WD thing.
We can
we'll put
throw
it
that
up
up on
there.
the screen
It'll
for
be
you
on
at
the
some
end,
point.
everybody.
So we're going to get right into tonight's episode because we got a tight schedule for us. It was called Live Bait, and the signs are just starting to fall.
Yep.
What was your take, Keith?
Well, live bait obviously does not mean what everybody thought it meant, maybe some live bait, because I'm sure everybody online was thinking that the last scene we saw last week, maybe the governor was using live bait. I'm not too sure. I mean, I've often referred to these episodes as off-campus in the past.
Right.
So it was definitely an off-campus. I guess my take on live bait would be, I guess in the end, where we see the governor and Megan in the pit. We're running across the field and boom, hit one of his little zombie traps that were set up when he was back in town, Woodbury, and it got set up by the 2 guys that had left him abandoned.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess that's my take on live bait. I guess the other thing I had would be it seemed like he was live bait in this episode. It seemed all to be about him.
He did seem to go in places where he was kind of unintentionally becoming bait.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe
Jay, what's your take on tonight's episode?
It was towards the end, like Keith just mentioned, but for me it was that pit is meant to catch walkers or biters, according to who you talk to, and
Keep going.
I think that basically that pit, with them in it, they acted as live bait to draw those walkers to fall into it, but they didn't show that. So that's all I could come up with on top of what you said. I had also Megan kind of huddled in the corner of that pit, and the governor taking out the walkers. But that's
Well, I'm going with the fact that he ends up in that pit, and now it's a reversal for him. That he's the one, because remember, they had pits before?
Yeah.
And they didn't put live bait in those pits before. So this time, he's now in the pit there's already a couple of walk-ins in there, which turned out to be fantastic. Maybe we should call them biters, to honor the governor's side of the story. We'll call them biters in the pit.
Biters.
But it's one of those things.
Seemed a little bit to me like, the Gladiators arena.
Yes, and all right, Keith, why don't you reenact that moment?
That was great.
We'll get
No,
it-
that was going to
we'll
be
get
that
it-
could be my line of the night.
Well, no, your version of
My
what
version
you
of the
yes,
night?
what you
Yes.
said.
I said in the other room, and you're gonna have to pan out a little there, Chris, please. Executive producer in the room. And what I said was, as soon as we cut to the commercials, I just, in General Maximus
Maximus
version,
Aurelius.
Maximus Aurelius, I said, "Are you not entertained?
Is that not what you were here for?
That's not what you were here for." Because he had 4 walkers in the pit, and he killed them all in classic gladiator fashion. I loved it.
All right, so right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a live call-in with one of our followers. Cynthia, are you there?
Yes.
All right, Cynthia, we are now live on the air. Let me give a quick intro to our viewers to say who you are. Cynthia is one of our original support group members back in the day when we got this up and running on Facebook and then over to Twitter. She is an avid fan of the show, not just our show, but The Walking Dead, to the point where she's willing to travel for some of the Comic-Cons that go on. So she went recently to the Walker Stalker Con, and she's become one of our experts on that. We have 2 to 3 experts on that, but tonight we brought in Cynthia to tell us a little bit about the con that she went to, and then tell us a little bit about the con that's going to happen either in Hartford, Chicago, or one other town that we don't want to talk about. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Hi.
All right, so first, give us a quick overview of what the Walker Stalker Con is about.
Well, they had a lot of the past and present cast members. They just put together a wonderful convention down in Atlanta. The next one will be October. I believe it's the 17th to the 19th, but we'll be at a different location. They just brought in everybody, and they're hoping to bring in, for the spring show, bring in different cast members that we haven't met in Atlanta, and they're going to try to also do that back in Atlanta in October.
Excellent. Now, we were hoping they were going to come to Boston, but that obviously has fallen through and has broken my heart. Tell us, what are the options? What 3 options are they looking at right now?
If they put up on their Facebook page for Hartford, Philadelphia, and Chicago, and it looks like it's going to be between Philadelphia and Chicago.
All right, so
There were
Hartford,
a lot of people that voted for them.
Hartford's out of the running.
Yeah, I have a feeling it is.
All right. Well, you know what? Since we've got you on the line, I want to ask you 2 other questions. All right. What
All right.
was your favorite kill tonight?
The bone when he was in the pit.
Very
With,
good. That was
that was definitely a different technique and definitely really good.
Different technique.
yes.
Yeah.
And then one other one, not to put you on the spot, but what was your favorite line of tonight's show?
I'm a pirate.
I'm a pirate. Well, listen. So there is an outside chance that sometime in February we're going to get you over here in Holbrook, right?
Yes, I'm going to try to make it up.
That would be awesome. So we have a potential, yet another special guest host coming in to join us.
Not if she keeps stealing line of the night.
Yes, Keith wants you to stop stealing his favorites. All right, well, Cynthia, thank you for joining us here tonight on the Walking Dead support group. And make sure you tell everybody that you're quasi-internet famous now.
I will. Thank you.
All right, hon, thanks. Talk to you
Have a
later.
good night.
You too.
Bye.
All right, so as the show has progressed, we've had FaceTime with people who were at the premiere party, and that was Carol and Beth, 2 of our biggest fans and supporters. And oddly enough, we don't need people to send us stuff. We love when people send us fan art, but like Jill out in Vegas has sent stuff. So this little group that you're all joining is not only national, but it goes international. We've got friends and family all over the place. So thanks for joining us. So back onto what we do. We have our favorite kill. Jason, what was your favorite kill tonight?
When Grandpa got tanked.
Thanks. Good choice.
That was
Good choice.
That was interesting. It was too bad that it had to happen in front of the granddaughter, but
Well, and you know what though? We up until that point, we knew they didn't know they had to do a headshot.
Yep.
So we didn't really know if they knew when you die,
Yeah.
you turn. But we did find that out through. Is it Megan? No,
Megan's the daughter.
no.
Millie.
Millie.
Millie's one.
Yeah, the wannabe cop. Yeah.
No, Tara's the wannabe cop.
Tara's the that's
Millie's
right,
the
Tara's
older sister.
the nurse.
We've determined because she has a kid
Right.
and a husband that went out for Powerball and cigarettes and
Right.
didn't come back.
No.
And in his defense, though, Governor did try to get them out of the room
He did.
Yes.
subtly.
Oh,
but-
I think he knew that they didn't know what was really
Right.
going on.
Well, but they
After a
did. It
year and
turns
a
out they
half.
did.
Turns out they might have.
They actually did know because she did say, "You saved me," and he would have been
saved me,
proud.
yeah.
He caught me, which is another new term. They caught me. They didn't bite me. They didn't. That was pretty good. Keith, what was your favorite kill of the night?
Well, I was getting worried because we have too many. But I will go with In the Pit of Despair. And it was a little off camera, but it seemed like he kind of was just punching him until he just bashed his head in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that, which is a shame because that would have been a good production. But it seemed the governor just he ripped the neck out of one, and there was some discussion on that was a kill, but there was no movement in the pit. But
Right.
when he had seems like the walker up against the wall, and he was just bashing his brains in with his fist. He's determined. It's like a different person because now he's definitely attached himself to this girl,
Yep.
Megan, and he's not going to let the same thing happen to this girl. Although it seemed on the road he was getting ready to abandon her.
At least this one's alive.
I don't think he was ready to abandon
just
her.
trying
I
to
think
get her-
he,
come
he
on.
might have been ready to abandon the other
Other
two,
two.
but I don't think he was ready to abandon the little girl.
But he was like hesitant to run over and grab her. He's just trying
Well-
to get her. Come on.
And that's the thing, though, is that I think he and everybody else has learned pretty much that you don't have time to hesitate.
No,
You've
you
got to
don't.
act.
You don't. We've
And
talked about that
he who
before.
hesitates is lost, and that is absolutely
Yep.
a fact on this show. For me, my favorite kill of the night, it was the double. There was two versions of it, which I affectionately call the Cadbury kill.
Yeah.
For those of you who ever torn open into a Cadbury Easter egg, when he smashed the guy's head, the father's head with the tank. So yes, Jason, I agree. But then the other one was the first kill in the pit when he was smashing him into the ground, and he cracked that one open like an Easter egg. So those are my favorite. I love seeing the gooey, chewy, nougat filling ooze right out.
I have a feeling
and
we're
if
gonna
you
have
notice,
some-
every time we've seen one of the skulls cracked open, you don't see a brain. It's just like a glob.
That's
Just a
good.
glob.
Yep. So, favorite line of the night?
I have a feeling we'll be seeing some Cadbury eggs up here.
No more Cadbury eggs.
It's the
my diet has been working. Do not send me Cadbury eggs.
we don't get those to the second season, close to Easter.
Yes.
Right, sorry.
It is the preferred.
So,
gift.
favorite line of the night for me, and it was a subtle one when the little girl said, "Well, what happened to your eye?" And he just went, "It's gone." The governor is gone. Real simple. He doesn't want a lot of questions. He wants to kind of forget. To me, that was like the quintessential of what's going on right now for him. That he's trying to reinvent himself. He doesn't really want to get involved in all this other stuff. So I thought that was great. I know there's a few others. So, Jason, what was your favorite line of the night?
Well, it was I'm a pirate, too. But
Great line.
it was Tara's, I have enough firepower to kill you every day for 10,000 days. I really enjoyed the governor getting threatened there.
Right. And on Twitter, a lot of people were mentioning how much she looks like Maggie.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of funny that people were like, "Oh, she looks just like Maggie." And now that we've seen Maggie with a gun in her hand a whole lot, you know what? I kind of do see that. Keith, what was your favorite line of the night?
I think I'm going to try and mix because I'm a pirate too. Thanks, Cynthia. But the next thing we got is kind of the favorite moment of the show, and for some reason I really like the explaining of chess. There wasn't really any lines in there, but he did. He said, who are the pawns? You send them out first. They're soldiers, and she said, do they die? He says, sometimes they do. So it's kind of like he's trying to relate. Maybe the governor feels that they're not really in tune with what's going on out in the real world, and he's explaining what's going on in the world today by explaining chess to her because she's been playing backgammon. Now all of a sudden, Grandpa's dying in the room. I'm going to show you how to play chess. I'm going to show you.
Right. We're moving on beyond backgammon.
We're moving beyond backgammon. We're moving into strategy. And then part of, like I said, the favorite line, favorite moment was, and then he says, "This is the king, and this is who you're trying to get." And she immediately goes over and, draws the eye patch on the king, and that was it. That sealed the deal, I think.
Right.
That he's attached to her, because then he burned the picture in the next scene. So.
Great segue into favorite moment of the night. Jay, what was yours?
When he was beckoning to Megan to come to him, and he picked her up, and I think you realize there's definitely been a change in the governor's attitude and how he's approaching his life from this point.
Well, I think with the governor, he doesn't feel threatened by them, so he doesn't show his true side. Like anyone he didn't feel threatened by, kind of got to stick around and be part of his world as long as he did what he said. It was when, the Team Prison starts showing up and starts rocking his world a little bit. That was, one of those kind of strange things. To me, and I'm sure I'll get angry letters, but my favorite moment was when he's in the pork rind truck, the pork rind delivery truck, and they're getting busy. Where was the little girl?
They're right there. They're in the truck.
Where are they? That was like the creepy moment when you're at the drive-thru and your buddy's trying to hook up. That was just wrong.
Yeah, but your buddy didn't have his niece in the.
That's my point. It's even worse when it's the little girl.
That was the daughter, not the niece.
She's got. I'm sorry. That's right. She's got the daughter and her sister in there.
Right.
But the whole time she's like, just grinding up against him. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for that, aren't I?
Yeah. We'll get letters.
Yeah, we'll get letters for the both. Your scene and my, take on it. But she's already, he's like facing the wall, and she started to grind down on him, and it's like, let's go, See the bread truck a rocking. Come on.
The bread trucks are rocking.
I think it was bread.
Oh, yep, we're getting letters. We will so get letters. By the way, Jason has not had anything offensive to say tonight so far.
Not yet.
Although we're not done yet.
Although I thought that was going to be some like overrun scene because we know the truck's not working. Oh no, there's parked in the meadow.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to it was like a quiet night, full moon, and all of a sudden the truck was going to be surrounded, and then they were really screwed. But that wasn't the take. It was Millie needing some.
It's been a year and a half.
It's true.
So with tonight's episode, obviously this was the governor's episode. This was all about the governor. I think this is the first episode where only one character got every kill, and boy, those were some fantastic kills. And one of the things that me specifically, I had been complaining a lot was that the storylines were slow. There wasn't a lot of good material for the actors to work with. This was a slow episode, but with the small amount of kills, they were fantastic. But again, the acting in this was really good. I thought this was a very well acted episode. I thought the storyline was really good. I like the thought of them playing with the governor has a good side. On Twitter, a lot of people were talking about that. Like, is the governor good? Zombie Reporter, who's one of the big followers for us and a big supporter, he was throwing it out there. Is the governor good or is he bad? And that really set off a lot of discussion. And you know what? I think I really thought he was going to end up running into Carol. I didn't think he was going to run into was that Rodriguez?
I don't know who he is.
I can't remember his name, but when he runs into the guy that abandoned him.
I think it is Rodriguez.
I think it is. So it was one of those things where he's kind of good, bad. We know him for basically shooting down the last remaining members of Woodbury, and nobody else does. So this is a real question of like how far can you go and reinvent yourself and have a new origin story? Because sooner or later everything catches up to you. And I'm pretty convinced it would have been Carol that would have run into him and ruined his surprise and added to that stress. Because he's going to have a stressor where he's going to go back to his ways. He's going to have to protect what he has now.
Yeah. And I was and when we were watching it, and they started with the whole scene in the beginning, and he was talking, and somebody was narrating. I was wondering if that was Carol, and I was trying to see, is that Carol's voice? And then I'm trying to remember if Carol ever interacted and knew who he was actually, because if she bumps into him, does she know who he is?
Actually, that's a great point. I don't know if they. I don't.
That's what had me worried.
They never really crossed paths.
And then obviously the narration was one of the two sisters. But I'm like,
how many guys are walking around with an eye patch?
Right. And that might be what signifies him to her.
Yeah. I mean, that
is true.
Maybe she'll have a moment of doubt where it couldn't be, maybe it's not him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she's going to know it's him. Mm-hmm. And he may not know who Carol is. So maybe we'll have this kind of standoff where I know you, but you don't know me.
Well, then she would have the upper hand.
And then that'll certainly be interesting. What do you guys think? Where are we at with the governor? Are they going to try and reinvent him like they have a couple of the characters and kind of giving them somewhat of a new persona for part of this season?
I definitely saw some evidence that they're trying to burn away his past, and I think that's what they're trying to do. When you look at him burning Woodbury, burning everything that happened there, burning probably his trying to get rid of the memory and the guilt that he feels over killing everybody from Woodbury, burning the picture of him and his family. You know, he's trying to get rid of his past. Therefore, it's, you know, he's only got something to look forward to. And like you said, eventually it's going to catch up to him.
Right.
With either with Carol, Rodriguez. You know, Rodriguez doesn't trust him. You know, he might have to do what he says, but he sure doesn't trust him. Not after what he went through with the people from Woodbury on the street.
Right. And one of our viewers who texted in, Vinny, said, you know, it really can't be too hard for the governor to reinvent himself. There really is no newspapers, there's no television. Everybody from Woodbury is pretty much gone, except for the guys who are standing over the pit.
True.
So, you know, there is a chance. Good point, Vin. Keith, what about you? What are you thinking about the governor? How long do we get to see good governor versus bad governor?
Good governor. I don't know if we have a good governor. We just have maybe.
Oh, come on. He goes,
Well,
he
he's
gets
good.
the oxygen
He goes and gets the
tanks.
oxygen, but he tries to explain to him about how to kill him, and that's fine. So he's trying to help him, and it didn't seem like it was going to stick around. Then he goes and gets the oxygen tanks. He's definitely a different person because I don't understand. He goes in there, the first walker, whatever. He
Walker
sees
biter,
Walker,
catcher.
Walker, biter, catcher, skin eater, or the biters is strapped down to a gurney.
Right.
That's an easy kill. Doesn't go. The next one is strapped into a wheelchair. Doesn't kill that one, and he keeps going. And it almost seemed like he didn't want to do it. It's like he's got like a little strategy going on. Then he gets the oxygen tanks. He runs out of there and runs into a horde. And we all know he can fight his way out, but he doesn't. And it's kind of weird. And that's where my take was on it. It's like maybe he is trying to change and he's trying to do something different. And as you say, trying to reevaluate, you know, rise up and make some change and do things differently. But when he first sees them, it doesn't seem like he wants anything to do with them. But in the end, now he's kind of bonded and is with them. But is he just, like you said, when they were driving down the road, is he bringing them to the prison to get rid of them? Is he bringing them to the prison as this live bait? We don't know where he's going
Right.
with them. You know, I just don't know this. I don't know if there's any, you know, they're trusting him and he's got their trust, but can he really be trusted?
Well,
And now he's run into Rodriguez and he's going to have to explain himself to
Exactly.
Rodriguez, whoever Rodriguez is with, and he's going to have to explain himself to the sisters who he was with this guy.
Right.
He's going to have to get rid of somebody.
Somebody's got to go. And you know what? My money's on Rodriguez. He's going to go.
Somebody's got to go to explain his, as you say, the past is going to catch up with him.
Right.
Somebody's got to go to live on with his newfound family, shall we say.
Well, you know, one of the things that, and I love the imagery that they tend to use and some of the symbolism, and we didn't mention it while we were watching it, but you know, this was almost like the governor when he went back to Woodbury and he was burning it down in that flashback.
Great scene, by the way.
You know, and that was what as he's standing there with that kind of mansion-like front.
Somebody put on online, not to interrupt you, town hall or something like that.
Oh no, we don't say those things. That I bet I can figure out who said that. But anyways, one of the things that we didn't pick up on was that's almost like either a baptism by fire or the rise of a phoenix. That it's,
I was going to say that.
you know, he's burned down to the
Rising
ashes
from the
and he's
ashes.
rising from those ashes again. And that's, you know, that's one of the things that we like about this show is that there are those subtle allusions that they like to kind of throw in and kind of make you think about it later on if you kind of get into it as geeky as we do. But that was, I thought, you know, a great moment that we didn't really talk too much about is as Woodbury burns, you know, he's burning and it's over and, you know, now you got to rise up. So that was pretty good. Anything else that we want to bring up tonight? Jay, what do you got?
I wanted to.
Okay, thanks, Jay. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I want to try to articulate this. I'm just trying to think about how.
I know, but it's only a 30-minute show, Jay, so.
You wasted like 15 minutes going over hello to the new fans.
That's just because I don't know how to say their names. But anyway, the
New fan 1, new fan 2, new fan
shows
3.
like Live Bait, stuff like that. It's just I wonder how many of these shows aren't actually. They're entitled what they're entitled because it's going to come up later
Oh, I totally
The
agree.
live bait is this whole family that he's found will be live bait for something down the road. You know, and I wonder how many of these titles allude to those things.
That's a good
There's a
possibility.
possibility because he was isolated today.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith? You got any other things?
I can't. What else did I write down? No. I had written down that it seemed like Tara and her sister didn't really know what was going on because the father said that they were upstairs and she keeps shooting them and they keep getting up. So it's like they've been isolated in this little apartment building and they didn't know what was going on. But then when it alluded that they knew the father was going to come back and she said, "You saved me," it seemed that they did know. So I don't know.
Right.
That was kind of just a weird 5 minutes of the show, guys.
Well, I think one of the things that they're doing, and this is probably a good thing to wrap up on before we go into what we learned tonight, was we know there's a spinoff coming, and in that spinoff, there's from the articles that are out there, that we're going to learn really about the beginnings of the outbreak, and so. I think one of the quotes was, for the first few episodes, there will be more people than there will be walkers, which is, that'll be interesting. So we'll get some of that information. What we got to see tonight was a different perspective of how this went down. I mean, they're sitting in that building for quite a while, kind of getting away with it, and no real problems. I mean, they had their laundry out in the hallway, which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, and his walker's upstairs.
Right. Well, no, he was a tubber.
No,
he was not really a walker.
When the father said, when he put the father in bed, you go, "Do you hear that?" And they heard some boom, boom.
I know. That's the guy in the
Yeah.
tub.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. By the way, they just found prosthetic legs. How much would Herschel pay for that leg? A real
A
leg.
bolt.
I know.
You
He's on his way to the prison.
You can't have two spares.
I got 3 people that
Yeah,
need
but
help.
you can have 2 left
Yeah,
feet, though.
I got
So-
3 people that need help and a prosthetic leg for your little, the real pirate, Herschel.
All right. So
Prosthetic leg
the
needs
real
to need
pirate
a parrot. He's
one
got
of the
that
things
back.
that we do like to do is we like to wrap things up with what did we learn tonight. So Jason, you are first on the list. What did you learn tonight?
I learned that after all this time, there are still people out there that don't have a clue as to what's going on. I don't think that they,
Do you mean in the show or like real life?
for both, actually. But, in this case, the show.
the show.
But it's,
Good answer.
I don't think that they really knew what would happen if somebody they knew died. I don't think that they knew they would come back. I think that might have been a misrepresentation, but it just seemed like they were so clueless. You shoot them in the stomach so many times, wouldn't it just naturally occur to you to shoot them in the head?
Well, apparently she wasn't a cop either. She was at the academy.
Right, but
Yeah, well, probably an
it
academy.
just seems logical.
It was probably an academy graduation party.
She's
was,
mall cop.
She was, whatever. A Hooters bartender or something. She came to the academy for the party.
So this was I get to go next on this one. I just got this from Twitter, and so this didn't even come from the show. I found this interesting. Monkey74 put up, seriously, there's polls about who got the most kills in the Governor's exclusive episode. You're right.
Can we go back to Jason's how stupid people are? And
Right,
is it in the
that's-
show
well, that's
or
what-
is it in real life?
That's the beautiful part, because Jason just said that,
that.
and I just look at the Twitter feed and I went, all right, Monkey74, you're absolutely right.
I'm voting for Daryl.
Yes.
They would still vote for Daryl.
They would.
Yeah.
They would vote
They
for
would.
Daryl no matter what
Vote
the
for Daryl.
subject
Yeah.
was.
On a separate note, I'm kind of curious, how many people are upset that Daryl was not in this episode?
That's a poll.
Yeah.
There's the angry letters right
Yeah.
there. And you know what? One of the other things I'd like to start for next week, if we can, is I'd like to start the you're a fan of The Walking Dead. So I'll give everybody an opportunity to understand what I'm going with. It's kind of like a spin off of Jeff Foxworthy. So you're a Walking fan if somebody says your mom is a Lori, and your response is, no, I know who my dad is. Keith, what did you learn tonight?
What did I learn tonight? From time to time, we always get on Facebook, Twitter, Walking Dead support group, what's your 5 zombie apocalypse weapons? Well, now it's what's your favorite board game?
Oh boy! All right, ladies and gentlemen.
So pick your 5 zombie apocalypse weapons. post it on Facebook, and add your one zombie apocalypse board game.
Hungry, hungry hippos.
And backgammon and chess are now out.
Hungry, hungry hippos.
Hungry, hungry hippos. I like that. We haven't seen a fat walker yet.
No.
Actually, somebody
Yeah.
wanted to know where the nude walkers
What
Yeah.
about the one in the well?
The one in the well. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was bloated.
Yeah, somebody wanted to know where the nude walkers were, and my response back was, well, HBO and Cinemax didn't pick up the
Didn't pick
series,
up
so
the
that's,
series,
why,
that's right.
why you don't see any of the nude walkers.
Yeah.
All right, so as we
Just,
wrap this
just
episode...
nude in the back of the bread truck.
Right, absolutely. As we wrap up this episode of the support group, you can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on the web. And from the website, you can get all our links, even right over to our YouTube, where we put this episode and all our previous episodes up. And so if you're catching this later on in the day, because I know England, you catch this on Friday, so there's a hell of a delay. And our fans over there who wait until Friday to watch that and then watch us, thank you ever so much. Again, I'm Alex Mann. I have Jason McCarthy, Keith O'Brien. Thanks for watching and have a great night and walk on.
Thank you. Good night.